call the workshop to order. Julie, has anyone signed up for public input?
Thank you.
I promise I'll be quick. So I just wanted to come to you just to say that we've been doing community conversations this year. Several of you have been to those. Our first one was Mr. Gross doing State of the District. He's going to do another one, second semester, a 2.0 version. We also had one on attendance, and we had Ross Resources come in and do a presentation, and it was great. I think, did we also have the county attorney, Mr. Gross? Is that who was there? The last one that we did was on high stakes assessments. So we talked about MCAs and we talked about STAR testing. We did all of that. All of those are also recorded from ICTV and then posted on our website when they're available. So our next one that we're doing, our second to last of this series, is on reading, the science of reading, and you'll note the title, Readiness, Resilience, and Reading. We're curious kids become confident readers because reading isn't magic, it's science, love, and a great community. So this one is next Wednesday. And our new PR person in the community education department is great, Emily Libby. And she said, well, why aren't people coming? We do have people coming, but we don't have them in droves like I thought they would come. I thought if we put it like Field of Dreams, if we build it, they will come, and that didn't happen. But we have had a lot of people that have been there. And so she said, is it because there's no childcare? And I didn't think about that. And so we have childcare next week, both during the daytime session and nighttime, and we're advertising that. And she said, do you have snacks? Well, we can have snacks. And then there's books that will be available for that one too. It's just really important. And so that one is next Wednesday. In the morning session, it's at the middle school in the library. And the nighttime session is at West in the servery. So I just wanted you to invite you personally. You've been invited to all of them, but this is really important. Not that the other ones weren't, but reading is really, really important. Yeah. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Oh, thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Transportation Indicator Report. Greg Olson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just so anybody that doesn't know me, my name's Greg Olson, Transportation Director. Just a real quick background with me. I came to the district in 2006 as a mechanic. I then, in 2018, I had a chance to take the director's position, and I had served under two directors previous to that. So I thought, well, you know what, being a little bit critical of them and their decisions and movements, I thought, better put my mouth where, yeah, you know the word, but anyway. So never would have guessed that I would be in such a situation. Short time, budget restrictions, none of those guys knew anything about that. COVID, bam. Also just the simple fact that it's a lot easier to manage a machine than it is a bunch of people. So yeah, that's a little short place there, but I will say that in my time, I did have the privilege to put some great people in the right places, which is second to none. So I'm going to start with just a brief narrative. Third largest district by area in the state. And I'll tell you, it used to be where people didn't live in these outliers, but they're starting to move into God's country. We've got a couple people out. They are like a quarter of a mile from the northwest corner of Itasca, or northeast corner of Itasca County. Long bus ride, but they're just starting to move in all these little areas that we didn't used to have to serve. Yeah, we've got Big Fork, Cohasset East, Grand Rapids High School, RGEMS, ALC, West, 3 non-public schools. We are down to 44 bus routes, which is due to the driver shortage for one. That adds to rider time, and it also puts more miles on buses. That's one thing that I want to see us change. We need to get a few more bus routes. Last year we did 936,799 miles, and that doesn't include the athletic trips that we farmed out to, you know, contracts and stuff like that. Currently, we have 61 or 68 people in our department broken out like that. Right now, we are short. We have 2 open routes, and we're also short on-bus ESP. So a connection to the district strategic direction, equitable access and outcomes. We collaborate with special services and you know, all the other departments to transport students to life skills. Trust and engagement, we gain that by being the first person for the district the students see and the last person they see. By being on time, by providing that, you know, that support. Hey, how you doing this morning? Evidence-based practices and student-centered learning. We communicate with families and schools to help students succeed. That includes like behavior referrals. You know, it's not just 3 strikes, you're out, where we try to work with families, try to figure out what can we do with schools, what can we do to help this child succeed. Clear and consistent communications. Our new My Ride K-12, I always get that wrong. My Ride K-12 app has helped tremendously with our communication. I was touching on that a little bit this morning. It used to be where our busing information sent out at the first part of the year was inaccurate before it slid to the end of the table just because we were adding students, where now it's real time. Stewardship of resources. Our resources are our people, our buses, our hardware. Yeah, we're doing our best. Our mechanics take good care of our aging fleet to safely transport our students. Our office staff work diligently on to implement our Tyler Drive product, which is directly related to the families, their tool. Student impact. Right now, we currently have 2,988 students set up to ride the bus every day. I did the numbers on that, and it's like 80 kids per bus. So thankfully, they don't all ride every day. Potentially, we could, you know, impact every student that's here. You know, between sporting trips and activities and field trips and stuff like that. Evidence of success. Our routes were all filled at the start of school. No open routes. Good feeling. Good feeling. The startup also went very well. It was the best one I've witnessed since 2006. And there was a lot that was going on. The My Ride K-12 app has been world-changing, department-changing. Barriers to success. I've said this a few different times, but we need to try to target a different driver group. You know, right now we have people that are retired and they're looking to retire again. People that can only make so much money, certain things like that. People that can't make it on a part-time job. But I think that's across the board. Everybody's in that spot. Our transportation office positions are very demanding and often used as a stepping stone. You'll see down there a little bit further, since 2018, when I took over the director's position, we've actually had 8 different routing specialists in that time. It's pretty hard to serve the community at that rate. Right now, we have a good group, experienced people. When any certain person's gone, the other person can just pick up and hold the reins. Another barrier to success is the student behaviors. I've got K12 down here. Not a target at you, Sean, by no means. 59% of our student behaviors, out of 2 months in, we had 191 student behavior referrals written up. 191. 59 were from West, 44 were from East, 115 were elementary level across the board, 37 were high school, and 39 were middle school.
I believe it.
Also, vaping. Vaping is a huge issue on our buses. All right, changes that I recommend for next year. Get back to our bus rotation of bus purchases. So right now, out of our 69 buses, 48 have 100,000 miles on them or more. 24 of those have 120,000 or more. And our type 3s are up there too. But our fleet is aging. Buses are still good, but we're experiencing expenses that we've never witnessed before. It sounds incredible, but we had one bus go down and it cost $27,000 to put injectors in it and then the exhaust system. And it's like, never, that usually doesn't happen. First time. Other things I'd like to see happen is, and we're kind of working on this a little bit, but work on our administrative assistant position. This is a position that's highly demanding. It serves all of the students in the district. It's 12 months out of the year. This position's been held down. I've tried to get that changed for the last 4 or 5 years and nothing happens. Our routing specialists, as I had mentioned before, I've seen 8 different routing specialists since 2018. I'd like to see that changed. That is something that is, along with the administrative assistant, directly, they're the liaison between the district and transportation and the families. So we've trained several routing specialists, and it's a lot of time, a lot of money, and it takes a year before they're good at what they do. But at that time, they're ready to jump to what is it, the building job? Yeah. Retaining high-quality people is the key to success. So I know I spit a lot out there real quick. You guys have any questions for me?
I do, Greg. What's the process that we as a district use to support your staff when we have disciplinary referrals and issues like that? What is, they're getting written up on the bus, and then what happens? Who does that go to next?
Goes to the parents, teachers, yeah.
Okay. Are students given so many chances, or is it immediately like, these are the rules, you've been written up, now you don't get to come back and use the bus system?
Yeah, they get a lot of chances. This year, well, I guess it is only 2 months into the year, but I have kicked off 6 kids for the remainder of the year because of their second offense vaping.
Okay.
Not behavioral, or I should say. I mean, with the little guys, we're pretty flexible.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, 9 times out of 10, there's a victim. Someone's getting hit, someone's getting spit on, whatever. But that's where it is. It's me and Sean having a lot of visits, and Clayton and Jill, and Yep, the high school principals as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so is it similar to then what would be happening at the school? They get so many write-ups and then there's like a detention or a suspension for a
Yes.
day?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And usually the drivers, they don't like to write kids up.
No.
So there's like 10 warnings. Okay, I'm gonna write you up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Sounds like we bought 2 buses last year, correct?
We bought more than that, Kara, right? I think we bought 4.
4 buses?
Yeah.
When you said go back to the rotation, what is typical, or what was it in the past?
Well, in the years past, I'll use a money figure. I used, it would be 675,000 a year. And then what we would do is we would just get buses out of that. At that time, they were 89,000 to 90,000, 100,000 maybe. So it's gone up a lot. So at that time, it would be 8 per year that we would buy, 7 to 8. And our buses, when we trade them off, would have approximately 100,000 miles on them, highly sought after across the whole state of Minnesota. I mean, they were, our dealer would just say, hey, I'll take them. And there they go. We'd get, sometimes $20,000 for a bus. So that's kind of how it is. But now, obviously, with buses at $150,000 or more now, and just the fact that they're really, really hard to come by, that complicates things.
Right.
But
I recently was talking to the sheriff's office, and it sounds like they lease all of their vehicles. Have we explored that? I'm asking out of ignorance. I'm not
you know what? I haven't.
Okay.
I never have. I would never lease a vehicle myself.
Sure.
So I guess that's the way I look at it. But
Okay.
if you want to follow me out to the parking lot, you can see what I'm driving. That's why. A to B.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Greg, sorry, just one more question. You had mentioned that there's currently 44 bus routes,
Yeah.
is that correct? And we're still short?
Still short drivers. Yeah.
How many extra routes would that give us if we had the amount of drivers that you would realistically be comfortable with having?
If we had 5 more routes, we could cut down ride time considerably.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is our longest ride time?
I think it's 6:10. Children get on the bus in the morning. Yeah. And it's up at Hartley Lake. Yeah.
And then what time are they getting back home?
They're getting home a little quicker. I want to say probably 4:30. See, the getting home time changes often because it all depends on how many kids are on the bus.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, can you talk, put that 44 in perspective of how many routes we had 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, Big Fork had 7 routes. Now they've got 4. Actually they had 2 routes in Squaw Lake, that would come across, so. But we also had these little sub spots that they would grab kids, come to a rendezvous point, then disperse. But even those are getting hard to fill.
Yeah.
Right now, currently, I've got a 6-hour route in Big Fork that I can't fill. So we're running it out of Grand Rapids, and it's 8 hours a day. Yeah, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon.
Wow.
This driver gets here at 5:15 in the morning, grabs their keys, heads up to the northeast corner of Itasca County, picks up 2 young children, and migrates their way across Highway 1 to Big Fork. Then drives an hour back to Grand Rapids. Does the same thing in the afternoon. Our buses are back here by 5:30, which is good. They're not leaving until, she leaves at 5:30. That one does. But
Yeah,
roads are good too right now.
that's true.
I think that's, one of the challenges too with the question of 4-day week has come up
Yes.
numerous times, and there's no way to mitigate what Greg's talking about, someone that lives 60 miles as the crow flies from here. I mean, and there's no straight roads to get there. I drove most of the way up there for about a week during COVID. It's just a long way there. There's no way to get around it. So, St. Louis County is doing 4-day week, but I think because they have more schools there, that changes that busing dynamic too.
Yeah,
They have more schools than us.
Yeah, but I mean, when I look at like where Northwood services, they go up to Crane Lake, virtually the Canadian border. So they,
But I know they don't have any
So
kids
they've
on
got
at
some
6:10.
challenges.
Reggie said it. I talked to her this week. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't have any of that.
open a school in Balsam.
Reopen, you
Yeah.
mean, right?
Greg, can you say a bit more about vaping? You said it's a big problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem on the bus. And in the schools. Yeah, people get it in
Is that middle school and high school or just?
elementary school, middle school, high school.
Really?
I believe in the bathrooms in the schools, we have detection for that. Do we have that type of thing in the bus, or how? I mean, it's just for the bus driver to be noticing it, or I mean,
Yeah, that's all it is. You know, I'm gonna work on getting some signs that say you don't have to put up with this vaping. Vaping, don't put up with it. Report it. You know, because I've in my time I've watched kids be exposed to things, and it's just a spiral. You know, drugs on the bus, vaping. Yep.
It's with smoking, it was a lot harder to be discreet about it.
Mhm.
There was a cloud that kind of
Yeah.
flew up in the air, and
Yeah.
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 with this and the seats on the bus are designed like a box to keep kids safe if something happened, and that same design makes it tough
Yeah,
for the
makes it
driver
tough.
to see if they just bend over. So it's tricky. I was watching the video you shared with me.
Yeah.
It's like, man, oh man.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times I can see it from a mile away. I can tell what they're doing. You know, they either got their sleeve pulled up and they're blowing it back into their sleeve or under their shirt, or yeah.
but it's getting used to a behavior that you notice more so than anything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, some of them are just dumb. They look right up at the camera.
But that's going to be noticed after, right?
After it's already
it, it's
Yeah.
not like a bus driver. I hope he's not looking at the camera. Right?
Yeah,
you
no.
know. So
No one-
it's kind of one of those you're kind of already behind on it, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term.
Yeah, usually what happens in a situation like that is it's reported to the driver by someone back there, you know, because most of them are so aromatic that it just.
And so you use it to confirm almost always.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like you have the manpower to sit there and review tape. for
Well,
no
that's what it
purpose,
takes.
Right? But
That's what it
yeah,
takes to discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I can't just say all 6 kids
Yeah.
in the back of the bus, you're done.
Yeah.
The old COVID days when they were within 4 feet of each other or whatever, they were all out, but no, not now.
It is one of the behaviors, and Greg hinted on this earlier. Those kids are breaking the law.
Yeah.
They're not just breaking the rules of the bus. It's not like horsing around and throwing food where you're breaking the rules on the bus. They're breaking the law when they're doing that on our bus. And so there's not a lot of grace given in those cases. Those kids they get a warning and they're done for the year because they broke the law twice on our bus. So, and parents aren't necessarily always happy about that, of course, because they have to rearrange their whole life sometimes to get their kid to school. But it's just very different than throwing food and horseplay. They're breaking the law.
You mentioned the software, right?
Yep.
The My Ride, I believe it's referred to as whatever. How many years have we had that now?
This is the second year that we've used it in
Okay.
full force. And
And it sounds like it's getting even better now for you, right?
you know, we were touching on that a little bit early too, but yeah, it's been a lot better. Our cell service up here isn't the best, you know, so when this driver's cutting across one up there, it's kind of spotty. The other issues that we have is I had a driver log in as bus 34. Well, he wasn't bus 34, he was 24. So that kind of threw things back and forth, but you answered a
Then
few
you had
calls.
two 34s out there,
Yeah,
or
we
whatever,
got two
right?
34s. One's over on Sunny Beach and one's down on,
Yeah.
yeah. So that,
Yeah.
that was kind of a fun thing. But the call volume has dropped to nothing.
Now, are we,
Yeah.
you know, are we pretty much utilizing all its capabilities at this point, or are there some features that were still, you know, anytime I've brought on a software, right, you want to kind of take it in steps because there's usually a lot of stuff that just takes time for
Yep.
people to learn. Are we pretty much fully implementing it,
Nope.
do you think, at this
No,
point?
we're
or-
not yet.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that we can do, timekeeping, stuff like that, that I don't even want to explore. Pre-trips, drivers doing their pre-trips. It's the last thing I want is them carrying a tablet around out there on their bus. The scan-on cards, that was one thing that we want to get going. But what we did this year is, in our letter, we put it out to the parents, if you want it, we'll give you one. And
Okay.
we've either got 22 parents or 22 kids or 26 kids that need to have a card.
Okay.
You know, so that's where we are.
Yep.
The want is not nearly as high as I thought it
Yeah,
was going to
not,
be.
not when you talk about 3K, you talked about earlier, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Potential bus students there.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you've talked about routing being a challenging position, right? Does this software actually have some interfaces with routing and ability to help on that? Or, you know, I'm just looking at that job satisfaction or trying to get the requirements of that job
Yeah.
potentially down. Is there something that we could potentially implement or look at helping you implement sooner
So
that
the-
might help that position?
So it provides turn-by-turn navigation for the drivers. Okay, and then the routing specialists build the route.
Yep.
What we run into is, as a routing specialist, you know, there's just a lot of hurry up and get this done. Oh, we can't do that. And then they argue with parents at times because, well, we can't give you 3 different spots to drop your kids off.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so there's a lot there in that side of things. Also, just the training, you know, like I said, you go through this software and this training process and training, and then they realize that, you know what, I think I'm going to go to something that's a little bit less stressful.
When we lose people from those positions,
Yep.
where are we losing them to typically? Is it to another busing service, or are they just going outside to other industries?
Some of them go internal,
Okay.
you know, to different openings.
Just are tired of the
Yep.
stress of this position. It's not worth the pay for that
Yep.
little bit of.
Yep.
Okay.
And just to look back, when I became the transportation director, I had a revolving door of mechanics for a small period. And I'll go back even further. When I was hired in 2006, I had the same, because I was offered a position by Itasca County, Grand Rapids area schools, and then there was another one too that I was really interested in. I forget which one it was. But anyways, they were all the same. Few years down the road, that changed.
As far as pay or benefit
As far as
packages
pay and benefits, yeah, county and Grand Rapids schools was the same. So I lobbied to get that lifted up. Got 4 great mechanics. Haven't lost a one since then.
Okay.
That's the thing. I've always been under the impression that you get a bunch of money, you're going to spend it, and you're not going to be happy. You know, a raise isn't going to do it, but this worked for the mechanics perfectly. And if I could have my office staff compensated a little better, I'd sleep a lot better at night.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
We're going to adjourn the workshop at this point, and we'll come back into session in about 2 minutes for the regular
Okay.
school board meeting.
Hello. Good to see you today.
People got nervous when we first started that K-12 Ride app because they thought we were going to be following their kids around. Like,
Oh,
it was like they thought we were tracking their individual kid, which that's what the badge does.
sure.
actually.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just like, no, we're just tracking the bus
Right.
that your kid is supposed to be on.
Right.
You know? Yeah, people got really nervous, tinfoil hat, sort of like,
Why, and,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, feedback's been really good on that.
Yeah, Matt, so Tassie County leases all of their sheriff's vehicles from
Let me know when you're ready, Julie.
Enterprise.
and then they get to like a certain number, and then they turn them all
start?
and they got new ones.
Yeah, isn't it like a fleet service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's through Enterprise.
We're gonna call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda with the addition of item 7FXX. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, second.
Second.
Second by Dave, discussion. Julie, we need a roll call vote.
Yes, please. All right, well, Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
David Marty.
Yes.
Mark Schroeder.
Yes.
Dave Cowan.
Yes.
Ashley Goodman.
Yes.
And Melissa Barr.
Yes.
Thank you.
The agenda's approved.
Can I ask one question? Melissa's attending remotely. Melissa, do you have camera available today?
I do. I just pulled up, so I'm
Okay.
just going to go into my house. I've been in the car.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda, approved field trip request from Big Fork School to Washington DC, March 2026. Michelle Hill?
Yes, I'm right here.
Can you tell us just a little bit about your trip?
Yes, I'd like to take the the school council members to Washington DC, and it would be approved. I would be using all the costs would be handled through fundraising. And it's just going to be the student council kids, and being future leaders themselves, I think it's important for them to learn how to represent others. And I'll be going through Explorica, which is a school-approved organization.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the field trip request from Big Fork?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, second.
Second, David.
Second by David. Discussion? Hearing none. Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
Start with David Marty,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder.
Yes.
Dave Cowan.
Yes.
Ashley Goodman.
Yes.
Melissa Barr.
Yes.
And Tom Gustafson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Field trip request.
Thank you.
From Big Fork School to Washington DC is approved. Next item on the agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Approve the field trip request from Robert J. Elkington Middle School to Washington DC and New York. Angie Carlisle.
Hello, my name is Angie Carlisle, and I have had the privilege of taking 297 people to Washington DC over the last 5 years. So first, I just returned from my last trip in October. I had 76 people with us. And Julie, I have just a quick video if you want to show that now. Will that work? Just a quick summary of some of our pictures and a little bit of what we did. It's a pretty amazing trip. Just a bill, I'm only a bill, and sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the Capitol So just a quick overview. Like I said, it's a pretty amazing trip. It's very fast paced. We leave at, well, the last couple years we left about 1:30 in the morning, and we get on a plane in Minneapolis at about 7. We hit the ground running at, well, when we get there about 10 o'clock, and we go till 10 every night. We have a group of wonderful staff chaperones, different group each year. I have had the pleasure of having to be able to take 24 different staff members to Washington, D.C. for the first time, which is pretty amazing that I'm able to bring different people each time, different staff members who can then bring that experience back to their students, whatever grade level it is. We've had grandparents go with us and aunts and uncles, and it's just an amazing trip. So I would like to ask for approval to go again next year, October 7th through the 11th. And I guess we'll start signing kids up as soon as I can get started. It's a pretty popular trip, and last year we were able to give scholarships to 8 different students for different amounts. We do fundraising. We had a wonderful donor last year that helped us a ton, so we didn't have to charge for the bus cost, and that helped with the scholarships. And we do a lot of fundraising, selling a lot of chocolate and a lot of Laffy Taffy.
Do I have a motion to approve the trip?
So moved.
Moved by Dave, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley. Discussion or questions?
I guess I had a couple real quick ones, because this came through as an RGEMS activity. What age are these students?
We sign them up in 7th grade, and then we go October of their 8th grade year.
Okay, so, and we do like because most of the trips, at least that I've been involved in approval, have been a little older kids, right, group. Do we still kind of, it looked like a 10-to-1 ratio you're trying to do with students to?
Yep, it's 10 to 1.
and-
We have
and
about
you-
9 groups with each
And this is the
adult.
same age group you've
Yep.
been doing historically? Okay, no, I was just kind of curious. In my mind, I thought with younger kids, you might want a little
Well,
different ratio, right?
yeah,
Just
we
somewhat,
stick with the 9 to 1. The chaperones are on pretty heavy duty, starting at 7 in the morning, waking the students up and eating meals with them and checking them into bed every night at 10:30. Yeah, it's
Can imagine.
intense.
Okay, that was my only question.
Any other questions or discussion?
I appreciate that this is happening during the school break, so students are not missing educational time in the classroom.
Actually, we go right before MEA, and then we get back the Monday of MEA. Well, Monday morning at about 5 in the morning. So they do miss 2 days of school.
Okay, thank you.
Like, I went on this trip when I was in 7th grade, and it was a really great experience, and I learned a lot while I was there. Yeah.
And you choose to participate in the council here now, so, huh? Okay.
Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
Certainly. Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman.
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
and David Marty.
Yes.
Thank you.
Field trip request to Washington, D.C., New York is approved. Have fun, Angie.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Principals Report, West Elementary, Sean Martinson.
Good evening, thanks for letting me come. Just so you don't ask later on, I hit my head on one of the trucks at the firehouse, that's why.
Oh,
When you don't have hair, you can't really cover it up. So I've been asked to present about West Elementary School tonight. Greg was here earlier. I did not bring any visuals to start with, but I would like to end, and it's about 8 minutes, but it's gold. So now you're gonna anticipate that. A video with some questions that I prompted to the students at our school. I'll tell you kind of afterwards why I asked the questions that I asked, but I can tell you that it was not super planned out. It was very much the kids that were available. They were not prompted. So now that you're waiting for that, I'm gonna talk about a bunch of other stuff. So for those of you that don't remember, West Rapids Elementary School is one of the newer buildings that was built whenever it was built. We started in 2020, 2021. I did run this by Clayton because I had in my head that we'd been there 3 years before we made our first switch, but it was 4. So the first year that we were at West, we became a K-5 school, and that was when Murphy closed, Forest Lake closed, Southwest closed, right during, not necessarily like during the pandemic, but a lot of the pandemic era things were happening and going on. So that group of kids going through, it's hard to say if they're truly a tough group, but I do remember that fifth grade group from the first year was a really tough group, and they've been a really tough group overall. You kind of get your reputation as you go through. But it's not really fair to them in the sense of what was going on at the time period. They were asked to do a lot. They had come from other schools, they had joined, we had mixed staff, we had mixed parents, we had mixed all sorts of different things. That group in K through 5, if you looked at them today, those are our 5th through 10th graders that came to West. But keep in mind, we had 2 mirror image K-5 schools, so I had half, and then the other building had the other half. We went through year 2 and year 3 with no quote-unquote changes, but then in year 4, there were no quote-unquote changes, but we then knew that we were going to go to a K through 2 building. So that 2024-25, that's when we switched to a K2 building. So for kindergartners, it was nothing new, but it was new for families again. It was another mix. It was a mix of staff. Students in 1st and 2nd grade, if they were already at West, they were already at West. If they came from East or other buildings, they came in. So there was another change there. I won't really call it out later, so I'll just say it now. Part of why I bring this up is stability is a really big thing for kids. And it's not just kids, but it's for adults, just that common understanding, expectations, and to know what's coming. So for me, because often we'll be asked, like, what could you do to help us? Stability. Like, that's one of the biggest things, create relationships with kids and have the stability with them. Switching to a K through 2 building, the nice thing, selfishly, is that rather than a 6-year grade spread of worrying about, it's a 3-year grade spread. The flip side of that coin is now I don't get kids for 6 years. So all those things that I really loved, I get for 3 years. For all those things I really don't like, I get for 3 years. So there's kind of a give and take. We're in year 2 now, and I don't want to take any credit away from anybody. That consistency is probably one of the biggest things that I noticed this year, and I'll cover a few things that either changed, were tweaked, or are just year 2. One of the things I remember when we were talking about the new schools was the concern about kids in transitioning schools. I want to honor that it can be a struggle for kids, but the flip side is that's a really surface level view. For kids that have a good support system in place, that they have a good district that's supporting them and their family, I just want to share that there's more to that. So for example, my own kids, and granted for kindergarten it was a choice because they went with their mother at Cohasset, but my high schooler now, he started at Cohasset, went to Murphy, went to West, went to the middle school, went to the high school. Of those 5 transitions, and he's now in, was it 9th grade? He's now in 9th grade. Of those 5 transitions, only 1 was a choice. The rest he had to do. I'd like to think that he's doing really well, but again, when we say that a transition is hard for a kid, that's a real surface level look. I think he has a good support system. He has friends. I think the staff have been great with him. My son Gino, the same thing. He started at Cohasset by choice, and then he came to West and East and the middle school. So he's one of those kids that's now going through seeing multiple transitions. When we talked about what these transitions might be like, dirty little secret, I didn't grow up in Grand Rapids. People think I came with the building, like I have been here forever now. But the district that I grew up in, we were a K4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. So I went through 4 transitions, and I think I turned out reasonably well, or at least I can't blame the schools for any issues that I have. But the point being there, I hope that you don't hear negatives or complaints in the sense of a K2 building. I've seen a lot of really good benefits. Kindergartners, they are seeing older students still model behavior. They're 2nd graders now, rather than 5th graders. And for somebody who's worked my entire career in the K-12, there's a big difference between a K and a 5th and a high school kids. High school kids are great, but you bring a whole different set of problems when you get to be older, so. Greg did talk a little bit earlier about vaping, thankfully not as much. I'm not gonna plead ignorance, but really not as much at the K2 level. So just a reminder, we are a K through 2 building now. We had a really strong start. We've already had a full year under our belt. A lot of the transitions and systems we had in place. If we didn't change anything, if you were a West family, it wasn't a huge transitional change for some of our process. If you came from East or a new school, it could have been really difficult at first to kind of figure out what we did and why. Now it's it's the West way. Well, this is what we do at West. This is what we do at East. This is what we do at the middle school. Our systems are definitely more consistent. Our routines are stronger. Staff have been together for a full year now, so have families. Our work last year really did lay what I believe to be a good foundation starting off in our district. A couple things that we did change this year is we added an AmeriCorps SEL rep. So this would be a staff member that works specifically with K through 2 students and really started the year off with our kindergarten students that were fresh to the building. And that would be, could be doing different things like problem solving, regulation, connection building, different small group work, or even one-to-one, check and connect, check how a kid's doing, check at the end of the day. We also moved recess before lunch. This is something that we had done at Murphy when I was there as well. I could spend a whole session talking to you about the benefits of recess before lunch. Kids go outside, they come in, they're ready to eat, they've ran off all their energy. We also switched this year to have the entire grade level together. In the past, our schedule kind of made us have to mix the grades. I'll just tell you, the whole grade level together works much, much better. Recess, we also switched to the entire grade level going out at the same time. Spoiler alert, you will hear some of the kids talk. I did not prompt them. That is one of the favorite things of the kids. I get to go outside and see my friends. We also have half of our staff, so half the kindergarten teachers go out to recess, half of them go to lunch, and then they swap. What you then see is, so the kids say things like, I get to see all my friends. The teachers say things like, I get to see all the kids. So all of a sudden, the kindergarten teacher gets to see kids from all the classes at both recess and lunch. It wasn't by accident. It was a very concerted effort by our staff and our leadership team to look at what would be good for kids. It does work out good on our schedule, which we have to do and we have to work on, but we did make some really good decisions that were for the kids. I asked them what their favorite part of the day is. If I were to ask you what your favorite part of school was in elementary, do you know what you'd say? You joke all you want, it's the same now. Times have not changed. What would you say?
Gym, recess.
Lunch, recess, gym. And if you're like super nerdy, you probably said like science, or you'd have something else. But that, just to give it away later on, you'll hear it. Again, I didn't prompt it. It's the same things, even with a different generation. We're into our second year with Wit and Wisdom. We're focusing on pacing, scaffolding, shared planning. Think of year 2 like, okay, you've gotten everything out of the box. You've done what you thought was the best you could. You're into year 2. You're looking back and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that now. Year 2, much more efficient. Again, didn't prompt the kids. The question is something like, what's your favorite part of Wit and Wisdom? All the answers are theirs, but it's interesting what the kids shared. At the same time, we're in year 1 of UFly foundational instruction with staff and students. I did ask them a question too, what's your favorite part of UFly? It's exciting to see staff invest in new learning, training, partnership, working with students. Operational improvements, some stuff behind the scenes. Drop-off was moved 15 minutes earlier this year. I really wasn't a fan of that. I would tell parents the same thing, like, it wasn't a you thing, it was a being able to staff that time is really difficult because the majority of my staff isn't on until 8. Our staff, my staff, until 8. What we found out was that I was wrong. Switching to 7:50, adding 15 minutes from last year, was just like a breath. Families could come earlier, they had more time to stagger, and we actually were able to staff. And part of that goes back to the business office and the superintendent supporting us, saying, if we're gonna do this, I've got to get that staffed. And this year, thankfully, we had a really consistent group of paraprofessionals. We made some adjustments to our pickup procedures. I won't bore you with the details, but the hope was to get our line that was the slowest a little bit faster, and our line that was the fastest take a little bit longer and kind of meet in the middle. What we had happen is this. They both went back. We're getting done at approximately 3 o'clock to 3:05, which again bores you. In my world, that means contractually every day I now have staff that can work partner team until 3:30. When parent pickup takes longer, I have less time to work with staff. They have less time to work with their colleagues. They have less time to plan. And the reality is their time is extremely, it's really important. I'll just say that. I won't try to color it in any other way. So being able to tighten that up has been amazing. A lot of that goes to the staff and the change and families just following those procedures and just trusting and believing us like we know what we're doing. Much, much faster. That reclaimed time, I can't stress enough, collaboration and planning. Staff can now come in. One of our first staff meetings that we had this year, typically we'd be like, okay, when are we gonna start? When kindergarten comes in, because they were the slowest line. This year they came in before the other line and they thought the meeting was canceled. because they'd now beat the other line, which was great. So it is a race some days. What am I most proud of? A positive collaborative environment with staff working. I'm not going to come to the board and say it's 100%. Like, I don't have 7 of 7 or 10 of 10 on every team perfect. But what I do have is a majority at every team, every department, every level, looking at our strategic directions. Like, I don't have to necessarily tell them, but they're living it. Proud Papa moment. If you wouldn't mind playing that video, Julie, and then I'll point out a couple of things afterwards. I won't tell you my favorite kid is. I'm not supposed to have favorites, but one of them's in there. It is about 8 minutes. I'm completely biased. I think it's a great 8 minutes.
What do you like most about your school day?
Recess and the snack and what's that? Lunch.
Math.
Probably music.
Music. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so my favorite part is recess because I get to see my friends.
Get to see your friends. Do you get to see just your class, or you get to see all the kids?
All the kids.
School.
Recess.
Recess.
Gym.
Lunch.
Recess, and gym.
Okay.
Sometimes I chase some of the boys that.
Do you catch them?
Yeah.
Tell me what you like about gym.
We get to play fun games again. Yeah, really fun games.
Who's your teacher in gym?
Mrs. Suki.
Oh my
Last year
gosh.
was Mrs. Dulong.
What do you like about lunch?
You eat a lot of stuff. Candy. And every Friday, Bristol and Ari and me get to eat with Mrs. Fan. That's why I like it. And it is Friday.
Mrs. Fan spoils everyone. What's something you've learned this year that you're proud of?
Counting to 100. That was wrong. And I'm also proud of counting to 100. Getting better at reading and reading chapter books. I know one.
What's one?
Math.
Math? What are you learning in math?
Equals.
Equals?
Math.
Math.
One time when I was at math group, I got 100%.
Nice. You guys all went with math really fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
The whole alphabet. The whole alphabet.
Whole alphabet?
The vowels.
The vowels?
My name.
Your name? Do you write it, spell it?
Yeah. I know how to spell my full name, but not my middle name.
That's okay.
I know how to spell my last name.
You know how to spell your last name now? Holy cow.
I know how to spell my last name and my first name. I know how to spell my last name.
Alright, let's do our triangle. Ready? Yeah. Go. Yes. Good job. Nice job. Your turn. Here. Oh, no, thank you.
Good.
Who helps you at school and how do they help you?
My teacher, she helps me do fly check-ins and fly.
Who's your teacher?
Mrs. Yeager.
Mrs. Yeager. What do you?
The teacher helps us
Teacher. How does the teacher help you?
by helping us learn
Oh,
and by figuring stuff out. Yeah.
do I remember correctly?
Mom.
Your mom. See, now mom.
My mom.
Your mom.
Teacher.
Your teacher.
My teacher.
Your teacher.
Oh, from last year, sometimes my brothers help me at home, and then I remember it in my head, and then I bring it with me to school.
Your mom or your teachers help you at school.
She helped me at lunch.
Helps you at lunch. That's right. Your teacher goes to lunch with you sometimes, doesn't she?
Every day now.
Every day now. How do you like that?
Pretty good. Pretty good. My mama goes to lunch with me.
And you.
Some of our friends help us.
Your friends help. Mrs. Brown.
Yeah. Mrs. Fanning.
Mrs. Fanning.
Yeah. Mrs. Roloff and
Mrs. Roloff.
Mrs.
Teachers.
How do they help you?
By teaching us. Mrs. Humbert by learning. by helping people. By helping us learn.
What do you like about lunch and recess?
Lunch is like so good because I can eat. Even on the bus, I can eat too. Finally,
Do you eat hot lunch or cold lunch?
this time I'm eating hot lunch. If I get picked up early, I get food from McDonald's. If I don't, I get ice cream.
What do you,
At lunch, I like talking with my friends. At recess, I don't know. At recess, I like playing soccer, and at lunch, I like talking. I like having hot lunch.
hot lunch? School lunch is really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
My
amazing.
favorite.
The cheese pizza, I love it. I love cheese pizza. At recess, the only reason why I really like recess is because I get to see all my preschool
What do
friends.
you guys like about lunch and recess?
We get to play with friends, and we get to talk to friends.
Play with friends, talk with friends, yummy food.
Me and Bristol sometimes play tag outside.
Take outside.
One time I tried to eat my sleeve off before.
In Wit and Wisdom, what's a story or topic you really like learning about?
Tomas and the library lady.
What did you learn about Tomas and the library lady?
I learned using your imagination to build books is super helpful. I think the Biblioboro. Yeah, the Biblioboro was a good one. Biblioboro means a library moving, and there's some donkeys carrying books to different places.
Words. Do you remember the last story you guys read?
Chicka chicka boom boom.
Chicka chicka boom boom. What did you guys learn doing chicka chicka boom boom?
Letters.
Letters.
Letters. Words.
Words. Did you do any writing at all?
Yeah.
What kind of writing did you do?
We read a chicka chicka boom boom. Yeah.
Was there enough room?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that tricked me.
One more. Ham.
Green eggs and ham. Yeah. Tomas in the library. Yeah. And then
What was the library one, Millie?
Tomas in the library.
What's that book about?
Waiting for the Biblioboros one too. Yeah.
The Biblioboro?
My librarian is a camel. Oh, and the ABC book. No. Once I went to
What was the Biblioboro?
the Biblioboro is like he's on a donkey and he brings the people books. And a girl is waiting for him and he never came back. Until the end.
Until the end.
Until the end of December. I don't know the year.
All right. How about
Rock tap tap. Chicka chicka boom boom. Chicka chicka boom boom. It's about when you wear tap shoes and it's all about a person dancing in the streets. It's about a person dancing and it's about a dancing in the street. It's about it's kind of like Last Half on Market Street.
last one? What do you like about you fly time?
I like about you flies because I can learn some couple new words every couple weeks.
Drawing.
Drawing.
Do you remember? Do you know
Writing.
do you know what you're writing? Do you know what your you fly time is?
Letters, drawing letters.
Letters, drawing letters.
It's pretty much right before snack too.
It's right before snack.
The teacher always starves us out.
She starves
us
you
out. Speaking of starving, we get to write. We get to put magnetic letters and make words out of it.
Oh.
I like doing the sounds.
Sounds.
I like doing the blending board on the TV.
The blending board?
On the TV.
Oh.
I like the papers stuck under the TV that has words.
Oh, like under the camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a considerable amount of things our kids don't worry about, but some things that, if you didn't notice it, some things that I did notice, is they talked a lot about friendship, seeing all their friends, They were excited. They were genuinely excited when I asked them things like wit and wisdom. So even, when I was a kid, if you asked me my favorite parts, I would have said all the same things. The stuff that Greg talked about the bus, I would have said a lot and done a lot of the same things. What I wouldn't have said and I wouldn't have been excited about was like the wit and wisdom question. I would not have been excited as a kid. I was excited when I was left to read my own materials. Those were different classes. So for example, you heard Bibliobureau more than once. Those were different classrooms covering the same content, the same concepts, and the same high quality literature. Some things that they're proud about. You heard math that they jumped to right away, which was reassuring to hear kids say things like that. What's my favorite? Music. We still have music. The kids love it. Who helps you at school? I asked that purposefully because I wanted to hear what the kids would say. Like the one girl, the teacher. Like, yeah, the teacher. But you did hear other names in there. You heard little girl talk about her brothers, which she does have nice brothers. What do you like about lunch and recess? The kids hit on the things that we thought. But then, you ask them, like, what do you like about it? I get to talk to my friends. If you didn't know it, you wouldn't know it. Like, yeah, it's normal to have different classes and friends. With the entire grade level, you see that group of kids coming together that I get to see my preschool friends. Yep, you get to see them. The reality with our time right now is kids are expected to work as hard as the adults do. Like, they work hard. When they go to recess, the kids aren't kidding. I get to run around, I get to play, I get to chase the boys. And I did ask her, did you catch them? And the reason I asked that is because when I was a kid, I got in trouble for chasing the girls and catching them. And my principal asked me, are you going to do it again? And my answer was, yes. Like, I was confused. Like, what do you mean? Of course I'm going to chase them tomorrow. But even in the U-Fly, if you saw kids saying, we get to write, and they didn't just say we get to write, they were excited. And we're seeing my formal and informal walkthroughs, the considerable amount of time kids are spent engaged in their work is really excited. And so I thank you for letting me share those. There were a couple things that I could have made it shorter, but you needed to hear things like the child's teacher was starving them out. So for anybody watching, taken out of context, the teacher does not starve them. They have to work right before snack, and then they get snack. So I don't know if you have any questions for me, but I hope you appreciated the kids as much as I did. That was probably the best part of my week last week, having them come down and interview them.
Questions or comments?
I got a few, I guess, comment. I love the video. Thank you. Especially here, we look at numbers and we deal with a lot of things that aren't necessarily fun, right? And it's great to see those students have that interchange with you and what's going on there. That I really appreciate that myself. That's part I don't get to see very often, right? You mentioned the stability, right? That's been a real concern for me when we've kind of looked at separating that K through 2 and the older students.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that. I know for my grandson, I've looked and we've looked at his classes, and it's like feels like he doesn't have a friend in a class every day. I really appreciated the fact of what you talked about, bringing those students together at noon or whatever, anytime you can, so that, when those classes get separated like that and kids get separated, they do have that time to interchange yet, right, and get that stability. I think that's a big thing. It's a unique situation for me because I grew up in, I was in the same school building from the time I was in kindergarten to 12th grade, right? So to come to a district this size and see that you've got all these buildings and kids moving around, that's a different animal, like you're saying, and I appreciate the fact that you're looking at that and thinking about that. And one of the other concerns I've really had with it is, here again, that mentorship that you get within the students, right? That, when we talk about K through 5 being in the same building and you have kids in the same family, your fifth grader can help that kindergartner out, right? And can we get that second grader to do it? And I was really glad to hear you talking about that, right? I don't know that there's an answer to doing that, right? There's no substitute for that age difference, right? But if we're looking at it, it's important, and I appreciate that. So that's all I had. Oh, also U-Fly. To hear U-Fly and to hear wit and wisdom that the kids knew exactly what you were talking about when you use those acronyms, I thought that was impressive myself. Clearly there's a consistent program going on because they knew exactly what you were talking about when you brought those up. But
Anybody else?
Mr. Chair?
David?
Yes, thank you. The energy in West is really pretty exciting, and it's really clear when you have your students speaking clearly. That's strong. A little bit earlier this evening, before we heard from you, we heard from Greg Olson, who said for transportation issues, the biggest challenge that he had was the wee littles, the K1 and 2. Do you have a perspective on that?
Yes, I do. I was talking to one of our, so in the middle of our day, we have probably a rotating group of about 3 to 5 bus drivers that come and help us with lunch. The reality is we don't have enough staff. And to have enough staff to help in the middle of the day, they need to be pulled from somewhere else. We don't have general education pairs anymore, which is at the beginning of my time. But every paraprofessional in that building has a job plus 10. Like, they're busy. So we have transportation drivers come over, and I'd ask one of the drivers how he likes it. And he smiled right away, and I said, because I've driven bus before and I'm a firefighter, I do all these different things. Driving bus is one of the most stressful things I have ever done. Raised 4 kids, work in public education, superintendent, pandemic, fire department, all that stuff. Driving bus is a stressful position. But it was interesting to hear him say how much he likes it, because he can come and he can spend more time. They have such a short window to make a connection with kids when they get on the bus, when they get off the bus. I mentioned I've driven before. I've driven the activity routes. I've filled in a couple times when the routes are short in town. But I think to your question is what do we do? The hard part and the brutally honest truth is the last thing I want to do in my day is take on all the behavior referrals from the transportation department. But the reality is they're my kids, they're our kids. So what I've done, and it's kind of hit or miss depending on how tied up I am, I'll take all the referrals that I get, or because I can see the referrals just like the parents can.
Sure.
I'll look at the referrals and bring kids in, and we'll either talk about or watch safety videos, or I'll make them do an activity. Usually it's about 3 to 5 kids that have to come in. It's usually on a Friday. It's usually during a portion of their only time available during the day where I'm not pulling them from an activity, which is usually their recess. No, I don't take all of it, but the reality is that is the lunch and recess. There is no other time that you can pull a kid. So if you ever hear somebody say, they're pulling my kid during class at the elementary and it's not an important time, that doesn't exist, folks. Every minute of that day is accounted for. So, the best thing is not only a relationship with the kids for Greg, but it's a relationship with the building and the parents. Most kids are not repeating. What we run into is just the sheer quantity of kindergartners, for example. When you have 7 sections at my building and 2 at Cohasset and 1 up at Big Fork, when you have 200 to 300 5-year-olds, they're going to do something stupid. And I probably should say it differently here. They're going to do something that's developmentally appropriate for their age level, because they're going to do it. But I'm like an old timer now where that's kids will do. When you're your age now, you should do things that are responsible. You're getting older. You should have made all those mistakes when you're younger. So part of it is when you hear that the referrals are higher for the younger kids, it's a bummer, but it's working, because as they get older, they should learn not to do it. You do something dumb when you're young and you get caught, you get in trouble, or you hopefully knew from the beginning that it wasn't okay, and then you don't do it again. So I wasn't surprised at the numbers.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just have a couple things, Mark. First of all, I was watching you all when that video was on, and I hope you had some joy there watching things that go on in school that you don't get to see. You sit here and make decisions that are hard and deal with hard and all those things, and there's beautiful things happening, and that was 8 minutes of it. So I hope that hit you the way that I think Sean
I
was
get
hoping
to do it every day.
Yeah. So take a moment, and I'm glad, Tom, you mentioned that too. Second thing I wanted to mention is there's a perspective or a narrative that, you know, kindergarten should be this and that kids can't learn and have fun at the same time. Kids love to learn. It's exciting to be able to write your name. It's fun to be able to see yourself all of a sudden do math that you couldn't do before. Those kids are simultaneously having the time of their life and they're learning. And so those things can happen at the same time. We just saw a dozen kids give evidence of that. Those were happy, excited kids, and they were learning all at the same time. So I think it's a good reminder that learning is its own reward, and we just saw it. So I appreciate you.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it because I did have to cut out quite a bit. Not that it just got kind of long, and there was two of them at first. It took a long time for them to warm up to realize they weren't in trouble. The little ones, they jump past it really quick, like, oh, this is fun, we're with friends. But the group of two, that was too few. They were like, were we in trouble or something? No. That's why when I asked who your helpers are, she looked at me kind of like, the teachers. I know, but why? So yeah, thank you. And it's not lost on me that they get to do this every day. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Sean. Next item on the agenda, approve the minutes of the 10/16/25 regular school board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved, David.
Moved by David. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Discussion? Hearing none. Julie, can we have a roll call?
Yep, Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
and Mark Schroeder.
Yes. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda, approve the September 2025 claims in the amount of $7,352,956.31. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dave, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley. Discussion? Hearing none. Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Dave Cowan.
Yes.
September 2025 claims are approved. Next item on the agenda, approve the October 2025 claims. The amount of $7,671,035.38. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dave. Do I have a second?
Second, David.
Second by David.
Second.
Discussion?
Oh. Well,
Good. We have a second by Melissa.
Yes.
Yep.
Discussion?
Roll call vote, Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman.
Yes.
October 25 claims are approved. Next item on the agenda, staffing indicator report. Casey.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having me. I know I can't compete with some kindergartners, but I truly am happy to be here, and I love pulling this data for you guys every year. So I'll get going. So we're talking about staffing today. See if I can get it to advance.
Did Mr. Gross have that before you, Casey? Finicky? I can advance it as well.
Thank you. I'll touch on some highlights of how we're connected to the strategic directions of the district. On the top one there, a culture of trust, engagement, and belonging. One of the things we're really proud of in the human resource team is that we meet with all of our employees one-on-one to go over all of their human resource information as well as their benefits. That's been something that we've added over the last year and a half, and it's been really well received. Working on communications and making progress there on communicating in different avenues. It's working now, Julie. Okay, staff information. We have 5 full-time human resource staff, and that supports the Grand Rapids area schools, the Nashwauk-Keewatin schools, and Itasca area schools collaborative. The positions are listed there, and currently we do have each staff member performing the same duties for all 3 districts. We felt like that was a good model because we can really get to be experts in those areas, although we have considered maybe looking at some ways to shift that. The student impact, all of the students district-wide are impacted by the staffing that we hire and bring into the buildings. To start this current year, we had 561 certified employees and 484 casual and substitute employees. And I'll have a breakdown for you on the next slide. One thing that we talk about a lot is how much our employees make up of our budget. 81% in the last year that we recently completed through an audit is spent on employees in the general fund. Here's a chart of our breakdown. This, although we have been reducing, this chart has looked very similar over the years. So out of our 561 employees, 266 are teachers at about 47%, ESPs at 105, and going down the list. So you can see that about 66% of our staff are teachers and ESPs, and then the remaining third is all of those other support areas. Substitutes is an area that you guys as board members ask about a lot. This chart also has looked pretty consistent over the years. We do have, you can see the number of certified employees and then the number of active subs that we started the year with. So we have 180 substitutes. I do continue to feel like we have enough subs in general in most of these areas. We just could use some better engagement. So having the subs that we do have take more jobs in the year would be helpful. And we do have some concerns moving into the new year with the Minnesota paid leave and how that will impact our sub pool and making sure that we can cover those absences. I don't know. It's just tired today. So this chart here shows you our fill rates over the years. Unfortunately, we don't have any data for last year. We shifted, and you'll hear about this in a little bit, but we shifted out of frontline for our substitute system, which was our absence management system. And although we can see who worked, we can't see how many absences were unfilled. And then we no longer have access to IASC as part of that. So we can't see Greenway and Hill City and some of those other districts. But we did give you some year-to-date information. Our fill rates do look strong so far this year, but I will say that they are normally higher in the fall than once we hit the winter and some of those other seasons. So it might be a touch misleading, but we are kind of trending where we have been as far as fill rates. So this is a chart of the teacher sub fill rates. You can see we're remaining pretty solid there. The one caveat I will say is when absences are filled within the building, they are marked as no sub needed. So that it won't show up as unable to fill. So they'll just cover it internally. The next thing, this is a new slide this year. So one thing you guys also ask a lot about is vacancies or what positions have been difficult to fill. I will say in general, positions go up and down each year. We maybe have some variables, but in general, our hourly positions have been difficult to fill. Bus drivers, custodial, food service, and ESPs, we've struggled consistently with those positions, keeping them full and having them full to start the year. Teachers depend on the subject area, with special ed being the most difficult to fill. And then you can see this year we have had some success filling teachers, with other districts unfortunately reducing as well. That helped us out. And then this year, we started the year with our custodial and food service positions filled, which I don't remember the last time that's happened. They're not all full anymore, but we did start the year full there. Major concern, ESPs and bus drivers. So we heard from Greg today, our ESP vacancies, we started the year with 11 vacancies. That's never happened in my 9 years here. So that's unfortunate, and that's with reductions. We have less positions than we've had, and we're still having a hard time filling them. So here is just kind of a snapshot of what happened in the last year, kind of in the HR realm. One of the biggest transitions this summer is moving to Red Rover for our substitute management system. We've been working over the years to streamline as many systems as we can, creating efficiencies in the department and also for employees. And unfortunately, as we've moved to Skyward, they don't have a sub-management system or a calling system. So we looked out to the greater kind of Minnesota HR directors, and Red Rover was the highest recommended. We've been happy with the transition. It has done well for us. Most people that have had, kind of minor concerns, as they've been able to come in and meet with us, we've been able to answer all of them. So there's some different notifications and different things that if people can stop into the office and chat with someone, we can usually resolve. But as you saw, our fill rates are looking good, so people are able to get in, they're accessing the system, it's working well. We held our first in-person sub-training day in a number of years, like since prior to COVID. This summer, part of that was making sure employees and subs felt supported in the transition to Red Rover, that they had their login and everything that they needed to get going. We also have done surveys over the years of what they need. So part of that training, we were able to bring some of those needs to them. We talked about de-escalation training. Deb Miller was gracious to come. She's one of our special ed teachers. Sean Martinson came and talked about safety and ALS training. And then Dan Adams talked about classroom management and expectations for subs. We had 100% of our survey responses saying that was helpful, and so we're really thankful that we were able to bring that day to them. We're continuing to transition staff. Everybody is clocking in and out electronically, but trying to get every single piece of paper electronic as much as we can. So we're taking those in chunks as we can. And then working to get our old personnel files scanned. We have over 1,000 of them, and that we're just kind of plugging away as we can. We're well over halfway through. Evidence of success. So we have a very highly educated teaching staff with a high longevity. We have a higher than average properly licensed staff. Our HR team is continuing to improve processes and systems. Retiree insurance change, you guys know a lot about this transition, but this transition to moving approximately 500 retirees into a new plan will save our community money and will also save those retirees that pay a portion of their premiums money. Here's just a little bit of data on our teacher licensure. This current year, we have 1 Tier 1 teacher, 2 Tier 2 teachers, and then 10 out-of-field permissions. So we have just under 5% of our teachers that are teaching out of their licensure. And the state average, which is almost 2 years old now, is 8.29. I expect that number has increased since then. We do also have some innovative program permissions happening at IEC and ALC that aren't included there. Here's a snapshot of our teacher education. 68% of our teachers have a master's degree or higher. 90% have credits beyond a bachelor's. And then our average longevity is 12.36, which is up from under 12 the previous year. Some of the barriers to improvement, budget, you guys know about this. We're down 84 staff members from 1920. Part of that is vacancies. As you heard, we had 11 ESP vacancies, but a lot of that is just reductions. The biggest barrier in our office is mandates. We talk about this a lot, and you can just see in the last 2 years what we have been kind of tasked with that has come unfunded and, you know, requires new systems in place, sometimes new contract language or MOUs, a lot of tracking. I'm not going to go through all of this, but really what we have noticed is a lot of these mandates that are coming from the state don't seem to understand what it's like to work in a school and have your staff that are only here 9 months, or for example, providing sick leave for somebody who is an activity worker and comes in a couple times a year, or a substitute whose entire job is to fill in for someone else who's sick, and now you're somehow to provide sick leave. It just doesn't always make a lot of sense, and that makes it difficult for us to administer and track, and our systems aren't designed to do a lot of that. So the top 4, the earned sick and safe time, we have 500 casual staff, so that was new, trying to get them tracked on there. Unemployment is, you know, mostly the resignations. It's a concern on that. The union data is just kind of more paperwork. Wage theft is a law that requires reporting pay to employees, even those casual employees. And then coming in January, the Minnesota paid leave and the break law changes are the things that we're currently working through now and making sure that we'll be in compliance in January. Changes for the upcoming year. Not a lot of changes, just kind of working through what we have going right now. We're working on contract negotiations and we'll want to get all of those settled. Completing the transition of the 65 plus retirees and dependents to the new plan. Continuing to look for ways to create efficiencies so we can better support employees. Backloading our old paper files. We're still looking for a new process for our teacher lane changes as a cost-saving method. We're trying to get a new para-educator test instead of the para-pro, which could help some of our ESPs become qualified easier, and also maybe help with some of the cost barrier of getting people to apply for those positions. And then the new mandates. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I got one question. Go ahead. Casey, you mentioned that the average tenure at Grand Rapids schools is 12.36 years for teachers. Do you know how that compares to the state average?
I don't. I was not able to find that.
Okay. Just curious.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I'd one. You mentioned mandates, right? And you know, the fact that they've costed us as a district. It looks like we've got a couple taking effect in January here. Are there any additional ones that are kind of in the pipeline that you're aware of that might significantly cost for us yet? That you know, are maybe a year down, or
yeah.
Because I mean, obviously, some of these were brought into law a while back, and they've been working on them for a while.
I'm not aware of anything personnel or staffing related that's coming with costs.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that we'll get a calm year so we can finish our
be nice.
negotiations.
Thank you, Casey.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, approve the retirement of Karen Elander. Casey?
We have one retirement today. Karen Elander, Food and Nutrition, retirement. Karen has served for 10 years. I'm recommending approval.
A motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, second.
Second, David.
Second by David. Discussion? Comments?
Thank you, Karen.
We would thank her for her service. Julie, can we have a roll call?
Certainly. Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
David Marty,
Yes.
Mark Schroeder.
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman.
Yes.
Melissa Barr.
Yes.
The retirement is approved. Next item on the agenda, approve the consent agenda. Reminder that these are routine items and do not require discussion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley. Do I have a second?
Second, David.
Second by David. Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
David Marty.
Yes.
Mark Schroeder.
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson.
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda, approve the annual certification of higher threshold in uniform grant guidance policy 721. Kara.
Yes, very exciting topic here. This policy is required for our federal funds. It is only related to our federal funds. Because we were a low risk oddity, and in the state of Minnesota, we could have a higher micro purchase level from 10,000 to 25,000, and we just have to certify that every year. And because we continue to be a low risk oddity, we just need to certify that, and the board has to agree to it. So I'm asking for you to approve that.
Do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Moved by Dave, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley. Discussion.
A couple of questions for me, I guess, in my mind. It's a yearly certification. It takes effect September to September, or what's kind of a
Yeah, yep.
year for it? Okay. And do we as a district, I mean, we've got some staffing changes happening now. Should we be reconsidering this, I guess, is what I'm thinking. How will it affect us to not have this?
It will just mean that we have to do a little more work on purchases between 10,000 and 25,000 for anything purchased with federal funds. So special ed, food service, title, those are the main ones.
In your opinion, would that be a lot of extra work for your position? Or
No, it wouldn't be a lot of extra work. Staff put in so much due diligence the way it is with every purchase they make. This is just something that is kind of a nice safety net to have in case we didn't do that extra step for something between $10,000 and $25,000. But I'm not worried about staff not doing that.
Any further discussion or questions? Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
David Marty.
Yes.
Mark Schroeder.
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson.
yes.
The annual certification for the higher threshold of uniform grant guidance policy 721 is approved. Next item on the agenda, approve Minnesota State High School League Form A grant application resolutions for Big Fork High School and Grand Rapids High School. Superintendent Gross.
Yeah, I'm bringing this to you on behalf of Dale Christie and Heather Lovedahl. This is an annual and customary grant application that we submit to the high school league. Form A is just the part of the process for this first round of grants, essentially, and we use these dollars annually to reduce the cost of fees and for student activities. So I'd recommend approval.
There's a motion.
David.
Moved by David, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley, discussion. Hearing none, Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
Mark Schroeder,
Yes.
Dave Cowan,
Yes.
Ashley Goodman,
Yes.
Melissa Barr,
Yes.
Tom Gustafson,
Yes.
and David Marty.
Yes.
The grant application is approved. Next item on the agenda is for information only. The Truth in Taxation public meeting is scheduled for December 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the ISD 318 Ed Services Center boardroom. Any questions about that?
Mr. Chair, is that just going to be incorporated into the workshop then in that evening? Yes?
Yeah, they'll go back to back.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks.
Next item on the agenda, the Big Fork School Advisory Committee update. Kayla Scrivener.
Thank you, Chair Schroeder. Good evening, members of the board. I hope you can hear me okay. I am calling in from deer camp, so I'm not going to turn my camera on because I just don't have much synced up. My name is Kayla Scrivener. I am chairing the advisory committee for Big Fork School this year. I submitted a high-level little bit of a report, and I just want to thank you for including the advisory committee on your agenda. Very briefly, we have finalized our committee members for this school year, the 25-26 year, and I have provided you with a roster of their names. We have a great group of community members, parents, staff, administration, and of course our school board member representatives. I want to give those guys a shout out. We really appreciate you coming. We added some minor tweaks to our charter, so we're going to have some officer roles and do a little bit of changing to the selection process for members, just so if we have a whole bunch of interest in the committee, we have a process for that in place. So those charter revisions will be submitted to you next month. We're super excited. I just wanted to share, if you haven't seen the video, it's amazing. Lakeland PBS did a feature on our music program with our new music teacher. And so I would be happy to share that with you if you haven't seen it, but we're really grateful for the work that the committee has done to advocate to having a music program in Big Fork again, and want to thank you for your support of that as well. It's been a huge success, and a shout out to Miss A. Want to make sure that you have the invite to our Christmas concerts this December, and would love to see you there. The kids are just making huge progress, and we really appreciate her and everything she's done for our school. And our next priority area that we're focusing on this year, so we did a bunch of strategic planning and we created these buckets of work that we're working on. This year, we're focusing on the student experience, which is class offerings, the school building itself, the culture of the school. And so it's kind of a big category, but we're excited to tackle it. We're also talking a lot about communication and how the community and families receive communication and engage communication. So we started that off last month with just taking an inventory of all the different ways that we hear about things at Big Fork School, and hope to learn a bit about that and see if we can streamline it and make it easier for families and community members to be engaged and know about all the awesome stuff that's going on at the school. So off to a great start this school year. Thank you again for your support, and I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair, one quick question. When is the Christmas concert and what time?
I don't have it in my head, but I will send a note.
Okay, that'd be great. Just
if you could notify all board members, that would be great.
Thank you, Kayla.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. Yes.
Other comments? Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, community engagement survey results. Superintendent Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This summer, the board agreed to move forward with a community engagement process, and we've been working through that. One of the first big items was to get a survey out, get some data from our community. And so part of our plan was to share those results with you tonight. So on Friday, a summary came out, but we'll kind of go through this piece by piece here. assuming we get a go here. Let's see. Let's try this again. Oh, something's happening. Oh, that's you. All right, so we did use Thought Exchange for the survey, and we had a great number of responses. 833 people participated, which I thought was a great number. We could get into mathematically looking at statistical significance and things like that. I can tell you anecdotally, as I watched the number of participants climb from 100 to 300 to 400 to 700, I could see the responses start to stabilize and kind of land in a particular place, right? And so I think we can get a good handle on where people are at. You can see here 66% of the people that responded were parents or had kids in our schools. I think that's great that families were active. And almost a quarter were current or former employees, which I think also is a voice that we need to make sure and recognize. The survey ran for about 2 weeks and was sent out in numerous ways. So there was an ad in the paper, pushed out on Facebook a bunch. I know our school sent out communication in their communications, whether that was through their digital or emails or newsletters, and then in the district newsletter that we sent out, again, that went out to 9,000, I believe, addresses. So that was when we really saw our participation spike, because again, it was just so prevalent out there. I'm going to kind of go through the questions one by one here, not quite one by one, but sort of hit the high points of some. Julie provided you a copy of the questions if you sort of want to refer to what these looked like and what the options were. You can see that the demographic breakdown of people that live here, how long they have, I think that's interesting to see, just the duration that almost a third of the people that responded have lived here for over 30 years. I think that's really unique, and also speaks to the demographics and the longevity in our community. One of the questions we asked had to do with rating the quality of education, and you can see that 70% rated quality as good or excellent. And so that was, I think, a good representation and some good information. And in a lot of these, there's always like a piece of good information and also room for growth, and that's how I think we can look at all these. But we'll help as we move through the next 8 or 10 months, learning what we need to emphasize. This question, this word cloud, is a response to, what do people like the most about our schools? And our subcommittee will have a chance to take a deeper dive into the qualitative component of this, but if you know how these word clouds work, the more often a word shows up, the larger the word appears. So you can get a sense of where people's minds were at. Same kind of an approach. This one was, what do you think is the most serious issue facing our school district? And I think I hesitate to say that it's good, because I don't like that this is the answer. But I think it's good that there is awareness in our community that funding is a problem. And so I think that's good. I think, we've done a lot to try to get that message out, and it's landing. This question got at was about how well do we meet the learning needs of students. And while 70%, most and all, is a good number, I as a superintendent, I think there's room to improve here, specifically in that some students category. And so, as we think about our strategic directions, One of those is about equitable access. One of them is about belonging, and that's where this efforts there need to pay off. Activities, people are grateful for those, have high opinions of our activities. And we had, again, some qualitative, and when we get into the other, there was an opportunity for short answer responses there. And sometimes that was, I'm not aware of what the activities are. Sometimes it was, seems like we talk too much about activities. But that data is available too, but overall positive response on this question. This question was a response to kind of an open-ended, what phrase comes to mind when you think about our school district? You see community here show up large, and then later community involvement was highly rated in a different type of question. So I think that's interesting, and kind of there's a story there. We get into financial stewardship. We have about 43% that agree or strongly agree that the board and administration are good financial stewards. On the disagree side, we have a number that's real close to the same. And in that disagree category, of course, that's something that as a superintendent, I look at and go, we need to make some improvements there. I think we have, but it's difficult when you're going through a period of budget reductions for sure to make that movement. So still lots of room for improvement in this area as well. Second one has to do with trust. Similar story, I think, when you look at the trusted and highly trusted and the not trusted. That's somewhat one, I guess you could argue which direction that needs to go, but there's still room for improvement in this category as well, and part of the communication that we need to do in the next 10 months. I think it's interesting that last question about trust and financial stewardship, but the decision-making, satisfied or very satisfied, was 62%. So I think that's an interesting dynamic there, and I'm not sure what exploring that would look like, but I do think that's interesting that there's that big of a difference between those last two questions and this one. This is the one I mentioned about community involvement, something that's top of mind for people, something they appreciate, they value, and they're satisfied with it. Communications, 66% satisfied or very satisfied. I think that's much better than it would have been. We don't have baseline data. This sort of is baseline data relative to that, but I think 66% satisfied and very satisfied is a really good starting place. Again, not a very big unsatisfied number, but room to improve in that unsatisfied one. This one was pretty close to being right down the middle on financial management. Ties back to the stewardship question, I'm sure, but still some work to do there. This is a question where, I'm glad to see, a large majority of people recognizing that our schools aren't adequately funded. And you might think about 66% and go, well, that's 2/3, but you look at the other category, that's making up 16%. So if you compare the yeses to the nos, there's quite a significant difference there. A lot of the other categories in this, that qualitative data was, I don't have enough information to, comfortably weigh in on this. So that made up a lot of the other qualitative data. Similarly, very aware, if you look at somewhat aware and very aware of the budget reductions, to have a number that's 97%, that's a pretty big deal. So people know we've had to do what we've had to do. And the next question gets into what's been the outcome of that. The vast majority of people recognize, hey, this has been hard on education. This has been hard on learning. So 80% in that agree or strongly agree category, I think, significant. Again, that other category, qualitatively, was a lot of, I'm not aware specifically. And again, if you think about demographics and if somebody's disconnected from the school district, it's possible they just wouldn't be aware of what's happening. Again, this is, I think, a real positive that between somewhat aware and very aware, people recognizing this isn't just a one-time thing. This is going to be something that is that we need to work through in the future as well. So 91% there, I think, is a really good starting spot to begin our work from. This question asked, what do you think we need to keep safe, or what funding areas are most important to be saved from future budget reductions if possible? Class sizes, if you take that word class, it was connected to sizes a lot. You can see music and art in there, and electives. So a lot of things shared there in that qualitative data, but class sizes, support for teachers definitely came out large in that question. The next, I'll kind of go through these quickly, but the next set of questions were about how are you getting information? Because that drives, where do we prioritize? So Community Connector, that's our newsletter. And I think I've got a table at the end that aggregates 4s and 5s or 3s, 4s, and 5s. And so you'll be able to see that in a second. So you kind of have a sense of how this scale works. So Community Connector, you see here, if we go to the next one, Herald Review, not a lot of information. Scenic Range was really less from a print standpoint. Rapids Radio, again, one was none of my information comes from here, which is pretty it's different than saying not a lot. This is just saying, none of it, I get none from there. So keeping that in mind, and then, 4 and 5 was really a great deal or a lot comes from this source. So Rapids Radio, ICTV on the next one. So some of that might be, how are we letting people know about what's available in places? Because, ICTV is a good example of where a lot of what we do here and in other places is cataloged. The Community Connections series that we are running, those are all recorded and broadcast. So that's a pretty amazing place for people to refer to. So some of it could be getting the word out about where they can get information.
Superintendent Gross, is that, when you say Rapids Radio, are we talking about like KAXE, KMFY, those kinds of radio stations?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. School district employees, I think you'll see this in the aggregated table. A big source of information, 40% in 4s and 5s. Our website, 35% in 4s and 5s. Our social media, 43% in 4s and 5s. Other social media, 24% in 4s and 5s. I think that's interesting. So this would be other social media sites that they're on and kind of paying attention to. So I think that's interesting. School newsletters, 41 in 4s and 5s. I think that's been picking up as newsletters have kind of been starting to get pushed out more and more. School board members, I don't know if I'd expect this. There's 6 of you and 10,000 people. So, or 8, in this case, 880 some. Friends, family, neighbors, another big one, about 40%. But you look at this 3, you'll see in a minute. That pushes that into that 70 category. So this is a pretty significant place. So we look at this table. I organized it really by the top 5, and you might see that school district website and the school newsletter and others a little bit out of order. But if you look at those 2 categories together, you can kind of see maybe why I organized them the way I did, along with that social media piece. But regardless, these were the top 5, And I put that other one on there at the bottom to show you kind of what the sixth one was. There was a second, like a significant batch that were in the top 5, and then there was a second grouping that were like in these 40s and 20s, and then there was the kind of the third batch that was much, much smaller. So I just wanted to demonstrate that gap. But I think this tells a story too about what approaches we need to think about. You know, there's been a couple times in the last 20 years where I've done things like this, and both times, even though they were separated by a decade, face-to-face human conversations between people, friends, family, neighbors, school district people, consistently have been at the top of that list. So I think, you know, there's something to learn there. Looking at communications in general, clear and consistent, we're rated the highest. There's room to improve on accuracy and transparency when you combine that, maybe or summarize that last table. Most of those items that we could, you know, push out were digital, and so it's something we need to continue to get traction with. Some key challenges. Finding a balance between the constraints and the demands for educational excellence and collaboration. That balance between those two things will be something we have to strike. Our next steps in our process in working with our partners at Daler, a few things. One, our school board subcommittee getting together, and so Julie will be working on scheduling that, taking a little bit deeper dive into this data, and making some meaning out of that. We've been working, if you reflect back to that community engagement plan that we looked at previously, getting that task force together and in kind of talking through this with them, we're landing on this idea or this name of forward. What's next for us? And so you'll see that word forward more and more. But we're in the process of finalizing the roster of people that we're going to invite to apply to be a part of this community engagement team, and we'll also cast a wide net and invite anybody that wants to apply, because really it's important that this group, that this isn't going to be an advocacy group. They're going to be coming along and looking at this data, looking at school district operations, looking at educational opportunities, and their role really at the end of the day is to bring back recommendations to you about, you know, what directions should we be looking at here? Is this about continuing to do more with less and less and less, or is this about some other options that the board should consider? We're going to be using Thought Exchange pretty routinely over the next 8 to 10 months. That's one of the beautiful things about it, is we can keep going out there. It's simple. We use Thought Exchange in this more of a traditional survey form, and you've seen the other side of Thought Exchange where it's a response to one question. And so you'll see some of those also in the next 12 months. And then also kind of that last one there, it's hard to see on the slide, but aligning communications that we need to do with what we learned from this survey and some other sources. So I think I'm been watching our digital feeds. I think that's been good, but we need to make sure that those messages too are aligned with what it is that we need to get out there. I think that's the last slide. Questions?
I have two quick questions, I think. The first one is, that's some really great data, but I think the benefit of surveys like that is to measure growth over time. And so is there a plan or a possibility to do the same thing in subsequent years so we can measure progress?
I think I agree with you. I think having some baseline data is really important, because, you know, we're sort of in a nebulous territory here. What does a 66 mean, or what does a 46 mean? So yeah, I agree with you.
And then the second question is there a possibility that if we do that and we go forward, Can we track the entry point to the survey so we can see the effectiveness of which way we go about it? Like the QR code from the paper is tracked, that that's the way that they got to the survey. And then we can just judge the effectiveness of where we're spending time promoting.
I can ask that question. I don't know it offhand, but I can ask that question.
Okay.
I mean,
So
if,
just
we could just include it as a question too in the survey, but,
Yep.
but I mean, whether we have to do it mechanically or we can do it
There should be enough.
technologically, I
Yeah.
think we can, yeah.
Okay.
I guess I had one question. So, we have been working with an outside third party on this, correct, right? Some of the development of these questions was through the consultant, correct?
Yeah, it was collaborative, yeah.
Do they have, kind of going back to Dave's question in regards to comparisons, right? Do they have any statistics from other groups they've worked with on answers to similar questions, or maybe the same question from other districts, for lack of a better?
I can find that out. Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of, again, have a,
We stack up, right?
yeah, where is it, right? Without a one-time sample is challenging to really
Yeah.
feel, right?
Yeah, yeah, there isn't really context for it without something to compare it to.
I mean, not that I want to compare myself to others, but
It's useful, yeah, I mean,
Other
context is good.
comments or discussion? Thanks for that data. That's really interesting. Next item on the agenda is board reports. Maybe we can start with Aaron and Eva.
Okay. So we've had a really successful fall sports season so far. Four full sports teams have all went to state this year, or are going to state. So football made it to state section champion, or to the section champions. They won those, and they won the state quarterfinals, and now they play at US Bank Stadium on Friday against Cassie Manorville. Volleyball made it to state. They beat Princeton, but they did not win the entire state tournament. Girls soccer made it to state. They won the section final game versus Hermantown and then advanced to the state competition for the first time in program history. They played well, but were knocked out first round. Boys soccer made it to section finals, but they lost to Duluth Enfield by 1, so they didn't quite make it. Girls swimming and diving had sections last week. 12 swimmers competed at section finals, and 6 are going to state on Thursday. There are 2 divers and 4 swimmers. Marching band players played their last football game October 15th. They have moved into sit-down band with students split between concert and symphonic. And girls tennis did not advance to state. Winter sports are starting this month, so girls hockey started last week. They played their first game on Friday against Lakeville North, and they lost in overtime 4-3. Girls basketball starts tonight with their first official practice. Boys basketball, boys swimming, wrestling, and cross-country skiing don't begin until later this month.
We've had a lot of sports events. We've also had a lot of clubs that have done a lot of really great things in the last month. So last Friday, Student Council started their Everything But the Turkey drive. It's a food donation drive designed to provide families with everything they need for the stereotypical Thanksgiving meal except the turkey. Students can bring in shelf-stable items that are part of the stereotypical Thanksgiving meal, and different items are worth different amount of points, which are then awarded to their grade. Students can also bring in a just add water dessert to sabotage other grades by taking away a set amount of points from that other grade. They're also doing hat days on Fridays to raise money to go towards this fundraiser. Key Club had some students that went to Cloquet to participate in a blood drive training. They learned a bunch of new strategies and learned about blood drive donations and like how they work and where they go, what they do. Yeah, they were also recognized as the top Northland blood drive for collecting 349 units of blood last school year. Their next blood drive is on November 25th. FFA recently went to the 98th National FFA convention in Indianapolis. The horse judging team was in the top third of the nation, with one student receiving a gold medal, 2 receiving a silver, and 1 receiving a bronze medal, or medallion, I think they're called, something like that. The forestry team placed in the top 15 teams in the nation, with all 4 members being in the top 100 students in the nation, and 2 of those being in the top 50. The math team had their first meet last Tuesday. They started off the season strong, being the top team in the Iron Range division and in our section.
Thank you, great report. Tom?
So last week we had the workshop, sat in on that. That was really educational for me, to be honest, to know our involvement there and activities. The 29th of October, we had met and sat down with some Big Four community members and talked a little bit about the possibility of baseball up there, and they've got a lot of activities going on with the students there, and so we talked about that. And then on the 27th, we had the mediation that with the service unit that I sat in on. That was it.
Thank you. David?
In brief, spent a little time on negotiations. The endowment committee met and dealt with over $100,000 in requests and was able to grant less than half of that. But a tip of the hat to Kara on the was working on the committee and was able to fund 9 additional grants. Is that correct? With existing funds, so that we were able to significantly expand what the endowment committee was able to do. And thank you for that extra effort, Kara. Student of the Month on October 31st. It's always incredible to see these students and what they can do. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Dave?
I participated in the principals group contract negotiation on October 22nd. And then on October 31st, I also attended the Student of the Month Awards at the high school. I'd encourage, as many of us that can go there. It's such an incredible event to see these kids being recognized, and the teachers too. I think the teachers get a lot out of it too, from what I have experienced. We've been working at the Rife Arts Council, participated in an RFP, a request for proposal scoring process, for a firm that'll assess the Rife with a feasibility study regarding the potential development of the cultural center and amphitheater. A firm was selected, and the study is going to kick off in early December. So,
thank you. Ashley?
It has been kind of a slow month for me. I have let my children's activities take over. So one of my children is a part of those 4 athletes that are going to state for swimming. So it's been a lot of running back and forth to different places. Aside from that, at the middle school tomorrow, we have our Veterans Day program at 1:30. Our band has been working just nonstop to be able to perform tomorrow for those veterans. We do generally encourage the community to come and watch and participate in this particular program. It's a wonderful program to be able to be a part of. And we also have the book fair that lines up with our conferences that start this week as well for our teachers and our students. Book fair goes from the 11th through the 18th. It's also a wonderful program to have at the middle school. It provides, our middle school PTSA, the Parent Teacher Student Association, tries to make sure that all students who gather and participate in the book fair go home with at least 1 book, and then all of the scholastic dollars that we are able to raise from past book fairs, we have our staff come down and they're able to choose up to about 10 books. We probably have around 10 staff members that participate in that, and they'll take about 10 books, like I said, out for themselves and be able to use in their personal library. Some of our staff members come in and will take notebooks or markers or fidget toys or whatever the case is. Sometimes they'll have pens or different toys that they can use for students. just as prizes or just like little things to recognize students and their behavior and their hard work and efforts that they have. So those are some of the things that we have going on at the middle school as well.
Thank you. I participated in the Big Fork baseball meeting with Superintendent Gross and Tom. In addition, I attended the Blue Cross Blue Shield Retiree Health Transition meeting. That was very interesting. It was a good presentation. Of course, we're all very busy with negotiations, and I think it just seems like it's kind of the middle of the negotiations right now. I also participated in a meet and confer with the teachers unit and a collaboration meeting with the union leadership of the teachers. That's all I have. Superintendent Gross?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few things. I don't know that we've had a meeting since the science night at the middle school, but holy cow. I walked out of the office and saw the commons of the middle school packed. Over 300 students is the estimate, and they were doing experiments everywhere. It was unbelievable. It was one of the, I think, proudest moments I've ever had as a superintendent here. It was so amazing. Kids were extracting DNA and building bones, and it was just amazing. It was so cool. First one, Lori Gabarkowitz, her vision, her dream. So hats off to her, but what a cool thing. Mark mentioned the Blue Cross Blue Shield piece. We had 4 meetings last week with retirees, 2 on Tuesday and 2 on Wednesday. Representative from Blue Cross Blue Shield was here to talk to retirees about the plan that they'll be moving to. We got great feedback from our retirees, and I think we've tried our best to get information to them, to answer questions, to get them what they need. I think we had 180 or 190 of them attend in person, so really good turnout we felt, and so it's been a big lift for Casey's team, but so far so good with that. The survey I mentioned earlier, went through earlier, community engagement is on the list of things we're doing. A number of you mentioned negotiations. I've had 2 meetings of the state compensatory revenue task force that I was appointed to. That's been interesting, and it's really slow going. We have to have a preliminary report to the legislature in February of this upcoming year, and then subsequent reports. But right now, we're really just digging into, what do other states doing? Are there other answers out there or other opportunities out there? How has this worked? Is this the right metric? Is whether it's direct certification through county services or accessing county services or free reduced forms, educational benefit forms, are those really the right tools to identify students that are unprepared? Because that's really what compensatory revenue is for, is to get at students that are unprepared. And poverty has been used as a proxy for that, and there's research to suggest that it is, but really, is it moving the needle on that the way that it should? So I wasn't really prepared to have that be one of the questions that we wrestle with, but it's a really important one. So I'm glad that we are. The last thing, there are a lot of staffing changes this month. 2 individuals that I work and have worked a lot with that I feel like I need to just mention. Anna Lloyd, exceptional leader who stepped into many difficult situations that were a function of her job description and then also so many things that she stepped into that weren't her job description, helping others solve their problems and providing some wisdom. She stepped up to lead on our strategy team, which was really valuable to me, and the ALC, and her ability to think with a systems level and ability to break down problems is incredible. So appreciate her contribution, her leadership in our district. Kara, in 5.5 years, if you think about the things that Kara's been involved with, managing operations through a pandemic, closing out construction on $100 million in projects that I think hit every single one of our buildings. Amazing. Helped through budget reductions in every single year except for first one. Ultimately leading into balanced budgets the last 3 years. Helping us resolve or get dozens of contracts settled and lead into and help us to work through some really important health insurance changes that are going to set us up for a long, long time. Those are just a few of the things in the 5.5 years. So incredible partner for me and incredible contributions to the district that are have lasting impact. So thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Reminder, upcoming school board committee meeting dates are posted on each agenda. School board meeting agendas can be found in the district website and on the designated posting site of the ISD 318 Ed Services Center. Is there any other business to come before the board?
Can I ask one quick question? Kara, is this your last meeting? Well, then I think we'd be remiss to say that we're going to miss you tremendously. And thank you so much for all your service.
Second.
Agreed.
Thank you. Julie, has anyone signed up for public input?
No, they have not.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, Mark. Casey, thank you for that information. I appreciate that. Okay. Julie, do I have paperwork? I bet I do. And you do too. Thank you, guys. Good report.
Good report. Could be one of the all-time best student school board member reports. Fact.
One of the best.
Excellent.
For like a sport, like.
That's true. That helps, right?